Hello and welcome to a cover story conversation. I have with me Ram Madhav, President of the India Foundation, author of many books including The Hindutva Paradigm and The New World Order. But today we're going to be talking about, well, it was a conversation that was sparked by one of his columns. He's also a columnist for the Indian Express. As Prime Minister Modi finishes 4,399 days in office, he overtakes former Prime Minister Nehru's record of 4,398 days in office as an elected Prime Minister. Now, Madhaji, why I'm saying this? Because your column actually sparked off this debate. About a week or fortnight ago, you said that this event is going to be happening. And you also, talked about the many landmarks the Prime Minister has crossed in number of days in power, including 9,000 days as in an elected office as taking account his Chief Minister days. So that has sparked off a lot of debate. People are praising it. Some people are also saying that you have not taken into account the unelected years of Nehru. So why did you do that?
See, the first general election in India
Hmm.
happened in 1952. The electoral politics in India began with that election. So you take that as the starting point of India's electoral politics. Then in the last 75 years,
Hmm.
starting with 1952, Nehru hitherto remained the longest serving elected Prime Minister
Elected
of the
president.
country. And today, Prime Minister Modi overtook that record and he became the longest serving elected Prime Minister. And I also I have no hesitation in adding
Hmm.
that looking at the trajectory of the BJP today, uh, Modi will certainly overtake the full record of
Nehru.
Prime Minister Nehru. I mean, Prime Minister Nehru
That's.
became the interim Prime Minister in late 1946
Hmm.
when an interim government was formed.
Hmm.
And definitely from 1947, after
Oof.
independence, he was officially the Prime Minister of this country. So that is about 17 years.
Correct. So
I
that's.
mean, there's a famous book called 6,000 Days,
Hmm.
written by two of his bureaucrat assistants called Amiya Rao and B.G. Rao. Very interesting book.
Huh.
So Nehru remained as Prime Minister in that office for about 6,000 days. And I have no doubt that Prime Minister Modi will overtake that record also.
Which means 5 more years. So you are seeing Modi, Prime Minister Modi, coming back as Prime Minister in the 19th next elections.
No, I certainly don't see any other prospect in 2029 also, given the overall political map of our country. If you see where the BJP stands today, where the NDA partners stand today, remember,
Hmm.
BJP is one of the great strengths is its NDA alliance partners. And there are also very strong partners in the country. If you take the non-BJP parties in our country,
Huh.
some of the prominent names used to be people like, earlier it used to be people like Mamta Banerjee.
Hmm.
Today completely collapsed. That party has completely collapsed. Then there is one Sharad Pawar. The third name, if you know, it is Chandrababu Naidu. And who is an integral part of the NDA alliance?
But in.
Nitish Kumar, integral part of NDA alliance. So I
But.
certainly think that 2029 will be an even easier victory for BJP, given the victory in Bengal last month.
No, but see, the partners that you have mentioned, Chandrababu Naidu, Nitish Kumar is on. Nitish definitely is on a decline. Chandrababu Naidu also, maybe this time around he will face an anti-incumbency. There is Jagan, who's waiting in the wings. He's reaching out to the Congress. We are just, it is while the BJP is coming together, we are also seeing an aligning of the opposition. Mamta Banerjee, now opposition will fight more unitedly thanks to the decimation that has happened.
Now, opposition's unity is happening out of desperation, out of a sort of helplessness. Uh, just to, I mean, if you are sinking, you will try to catch hold on to something.
Hmm.
Whichever is available, you will try to catch, even if it is just it's the straw, you will try to hold on to it. And Trinamool trying to catch hold of Congress is like that, I would say. Both are anyway sinking. But more importantly, on a very serious note, you don't see BJP's graph going down anywhere. On the contrary, BJP, after the victories in Assam and Bengal,
Huh.
especially the Bengal's victory, is a huge victory. You remember, Bengal sends 48 MPs to the parliament.
Correct, huh?
And BJP used to have 16, 17 members
Earlier.
out of 48. I I expect a sweep in that state in 2029. That itself will add 20-30 additional seats to BJP's kitty. And UP, where BJP suffered in the 2024 parliament election,
Hmm.
will definitely give a better result this time. So I'm quite confident that BJP will do on its own very well in the next parliament election, although it's 3 years away.
It is.
It's too
It-
premature to talk about that election
But this
today,
is,
3 years in it.
yeah, actually, we began a little bit. I was going to take this point later. But, one of Modi's, Prime Minister Modi's achievements has been the death of the opposition. I would say the death of the regional parties. Are we going back to the two-party rule? We are seeing regional parties being decimated, either being, co-opted in the BJP or in the Congress.
That's not completely true. In fact, today Congress itself is like a regional party.
They have a
It
pan-India base and a
pan
vote
India base for the
popular
name's
votes percentage.
sake, but actually their strength remains in very few pockets in the country. But I don't really say that regional parties have completely disappeared or regional parties have dismantled in the country. No. For example, take the case of South India.
Hmm.
I mean, we talked about Andhra Pradesh, even states like Tamil Nadu, their regional parties have their presence. Punjab has its own regional party, Aam Aadmi Party.
Not
So
for
there
long,
will be
if the BJP has anything to do with
there
it.
will be some regional parties in the country. But remember,
Hmm.
it's not just that the opposition has weakened or anything like that.
Hmm.
The much more significant reality of Indian politics is the rise of Prime Minister Modi
Hmm.
as an unsurmountable force in the country. In the last 10 to 12 years, he has grown into a kind of leader who cannot be challenged by anybody today. That is the real problem for the opposition. Opposition may come together, they may get united and all that. But who is there to match with the stature of Modi? Who is there to match or challenge the track record of Modi? Look at his 12-year track record.
Hmm.
How the economy has been taken to newer heights and how the country's stature has been enhanced globally. And that is where the opposition will face the real challenge. When people see one side Prime Minister Modi, the other side who?
I tend to agree with Surjit Bhalla. I'm sure you read that column where he said while the BJP is winning politics, but economics, it's losing. The economy is not as robust as the numbers seem to be saying. Be that it is may, politically, I would say, Rahul, the Prime Minister Modi still stands tallest amongst all the leaders. But there is always a vacuum and anyone can come up. Because now what I am hearing anecdotally and on the social media, people have started talking, murmuring. Earlier this was not the case. You can say it's 12 years anti, somewhere is the sheen wearing off?
No, I respect economists like Mr. Bhalla. They have no politics, they have no biases, they have their own observations. But that is not the full picture. There are other economists who are telling a totally different story. Arvind Panagaria is also a very renowned economist. His story about India's economy is different from what Mr. Bhalla and others are saying. There are certain challenges. Those challenges are because of certain global situation. That is, for example, today, rupees depreciation is a concern for many.
Yes.
In fact, Bhalla also talked about it in his column.
Especially when you compare it with our neighbors. Our currency is depreciating much
India
faster.
India is a very big country. India is a very big
but
economy.
But we always prided ourselves on being stronger.
When you can't compare with smaller economies. Smaller economies have some kind of capacity to absorb, and bigger economies need bigger capacity to absorb shocks. So even in spite of that, we are able to maintain, in terms of our oil reserves, we are able to maintain the oil reserves well because we had a 90-day reserve facility in our country. That's the reason why we have not enhanced
conduct the Bengal elections. After that, we did.
Even after that, take the figures. We enhanced prices of our fuels, petroleum products, by about 10%. Do you know how much China has increased? 45%. US, the prices have gone up by more than 50%. Here, because we were able to manage those things well, we were able to, manage the economy, broadly speaking, also well. Even in spite of all these things, today we are registering something like 7.7% GDP growth rate in this quarter.
Okay.
For a big economy like India, remember, India's
Hmm.
economy size also should be kept in mind. You can't compare it with Ethiopia, or Ethiopia is doing 8%, you are only doing 6%. No, it's a big economy, a $4 trillion economy, doing very well. Nobody says that there are no problems. There is a global situation which is creating pressures on Indian economy also. We totally agree with that. But the way the country is managing that challenge is certainly commendable. Those alerts that these people, economists like Balla are making, they are certain alerts. Those alerts will be taken seriously.
Okay, you know what we've done? We put the cart before the horse, because I wanted to also talk to you about the Nehru versus Modi period and the comparisons. But we, of course, talk about Modi's achievements, because this is what happens when I have someone like you next to me. I'm going to take a break and come back and keep the conversation to the comparisons between Nehru and Modi. So stay with us. Hello and welcome back to our cover story conversation. We are here discussing what the BJP is celebrating the headlines today, which is that the Prime Minister Modi has overtaken former Prime Minister Nehru's elected stint in office. But we were discussing the unelected years also, and the argument that the Congress is giving, if you don't take into account the unelected period, then how do you take into account people like Sardar Patel, people like Ambedkar, because they were there part of that earlier government? Then you can't take one and not the other.
No, fair enough. That record also will be broken in next four
As you
five
said,
years.
yes.
That's not the issue. As I said, right now, see, Prime Minister Nehru remained the dominant political face in the post-independent Indian political establishment. Naturally, there will be comparisons. So this comparison is related to one important phase between 52 and 64 for 12 years, around 12 years, less than 12 years. He was there in power as Prime Minister, elected Prime Minister. Today, Prime Minister Modi crossed that record.
But one thing I don't understand, there's the amount of celebration, because at one hand, if you speak to any BJP, member, they think Nehru's record is a failure, he's done nothing right. So if he's such a failure, then why are you benchmarking yourself against a failure?
As I said, in the post-independence history, one of the dominant leaders happens to be Jawaharlal Nehru, India's first Prime Minister. So comparisons are natural. Some may like or some may not like. This particular instance is only to showcase how Prime Minister Modi, an ordinary man on the street, rose to become the Prime Minister. Unlike Jawaharlal Nehru was not an ordinary man on the street, remember. He came from a very illustrious aristocratic family. He had a father who promoted him. He had a godfather in Gandhi who promoted him. And he was born with a silver spoon or platinum spoon, you want to call it. But Modi is not like that. Modi represented the quintessential strength of India's democracy. That a weakest person also can become the strongest person in this country through the democratic process. He rose through that process, and today he got the support or love and affection of the people of this country and overtook Nehru's record.
But see, struggle is why is it only economic? Nehru went to jail. He came from he was born in the family that he was born. After that, he could have also not participated in the freedom struggle. He did. He was, he sacrificed for it. Why is that sacrifice and struggle not being taken into account?
No, so are you trying to say that Modi has not done any struggle in his politics?
You are saying the other way. You are saying Nehru has not done any struggle.
No, I'm not saying Nehru has not done any struggle, but Nehru had a certain privileged position right from the beginning, which Modi did not have. Modi began as a very, very ordinary, humble Indian citizen.
Modi had a godfather in Advani. If he disowned him, it's not Advani's fault. Who was promoting Modi?
No, but what was Advani in India's
At
government
least Nehru did not do to Gandhi
system.
what Modi did to Advani.
No, since you raised that, let me tell you, Gandhi-Nehru differences were much deeper than any other differences that you can compare. At one stage... But
there was no public humiliation, was there?
Oh, public. They exchanged letters with each other. openly saying that I disagree with you. Nehru wrote
Disagree.
in his own, in his own diary about how much he disagreed with, how much he was frustrated with Gandhi. Nehru wrote all that in his diary and all that. There existed differences. That's not the point. But still, in spite of all those things, Nehru always had the blessings of people like Gandhi. I mean,
He's the one who made him.
it's a well-known fact that in 1946,
I read your column.
in 1946, not a single Congress committee, Pradesh Congress committee. Remember, those days, the constitution was that PCCs would nominate the leader of the
party.
AICC. Who will become the AICC president will be decided by PCCs.
Right.
Not a single PCC recommended his name. Yet he became. That was because of Gandhi. So there is a difference which we should acknowledge. If Nehru had a history of freedom movement, Modi also had a history of long struggle for his ideological movement. There was a movement in which he was an integral part. He also served on the street. He also pasted posters on the walls.
No, see, this narrative, I am not arguing against that Modi struggled. But all I am saying is taking into account that this whole narrative about Nehru living a life of privilege and again this thing about him, dynasty. Nehru was not in favor of dynasty. His sister, Nayanthara Sehgal, his niece also told me on record. Nehru himself was asked that should he make Indira the next Congress president, told, I think, an American journalist that do you want me to then rule from the grave? So, the dynasty happened, but it's not that he was in favor of it.
No, what he
and he
said,
was not a dynastic person.
What he said, you are saying. What he did, I will say. I will tell you. Indira Gandhi became the president of Congress during when he was alive.
But you know what he said? Will the prime minister face the Congress president over the breakfast table? He was against it.
No, he was against it. It's a narrative that was built. That's what I'm saying. But in front of his eyes, Indira Gandhi rose to positions in Congress. He was instrumental in running a parallel party network. She was so powerful in Congress. She was instrumental in getting Namadripa's government dismissed in Kerala, while Nehru remained either he was a party to that or remained silent, whatever it is. So her rise was right in front of his eyes. Now you say that he never supported family rise. How will you justify it when in front of his own eyes Indira rose? Without him, what was Indira Gandhi? In every visit of his, Indira Gandhi was with him. Every official visit of his. Check the records. She used to travel with him. She used to be there with him.
As a family member, and that was a
at least you can't say that in Modi's case. He is taking
I concede that point to you. But, in terms of opposition, at any given point of Nehru's rule, the Congress had 40% of the popular vote. Their numbers were always 300. There was the outright majority. Yet, he attended parliament every day. When the opposition raised a point, he praised opposition leaders like Atal Bihari Vajpayee. He even, there was a resignation of the finance minister on his watch. When there were scandals, scams, he addressed them, he heard them, he listened to them. Compare that to what's happening now.
No, Prime Minister Modi also praises opposition many times, many individual members of opposition many times. Prime Minister Modi is a very responsible parliamentarian. He gives a lot of respect to Parliament. So on those issues, we are living in two different times. Today, Prime Ministers are much more busy, much more engaged with many more things. Maybe sometimes you may not find some leaders always in the house throughout the sessions, but that doesn't mean anybody has any less respect for Parliament or anything.
The institutions that Nehru built, today those same institutions, it is being alleged by the opposition, are totally losing their sheen thanks to the current government.
Institutions, Nehru built institutions, Modi built. If Nehru built 6 IITs, Modi built 23 IITs. Institutions every leader built. I'm not just saying Nehru and Modi. Even others have built institutions. I make a very important distinction. Nehru focused on building infrastructure. Modi focused on building human beings. Modi's greatest strength, where does he derive his strength today? Nehru focused on building dams. Nehru focused on building institutions. Nehru focused on other infrastructure. I'm not saying it's less important. It was important at that time. But Modi focused on building the lives of individual citizens of this country. The last man. He built 11 crore toilets for ordinary citizens of this country, 4 crore houses for poor people of this country. He gave ration to 80 crore Indians. He focused on building humans in this country. And today that human capital is what is the strength of India. That's the strength of Indian economy, and that's the strength of BJP and Modi.
But isn't the infrastructure built for making lives of humans better? Otherwise, who's he building the dams and IITs and IIMs? If today Modi is celebrating a Chandrayaan mission, it is because of the IITs and IIMs that were built.
In terms of
So
infrastructure,
you have to give credit where it's due instead of saying...
definitely. In fact,
that's
in
what
my
I'm saying.
article, I did give
You
that
did.
credit. I said Nehru is credited with building infrastructure. But what infrastructure Modi built in last 12 years is much more than the infrastructure that was built during the first 10-12 years
But
of
he was
India's...
also building and consolidating a nation. Everybody had a different brief in front of him.
You see, if we are purely going by that, I can tell you, India was much more poorer by the time Nehru passed away in 64 than when he became the Prime Minister. During 12 years of his time, through his, very failed socialist model of economy, he ended up leaving India poorer than before. Whereas Modi, you can't say that. Modi doubled India's economy in last 12 years. If you go by pure data, I'm saying. Even then, I give the benefit of doubt. Okay, he was building a new country after years of, slavery and all that. But then give credit to Modi, where he doubled the Indian economy from $1.96 trillion to today close to $4 trillion economy. Whereas Nehru left it a poverty-stricken country.
My argument or my issue with the BJP is not so much with who did what, but the point is your attitude towards the past. If you do not acknowledge your past, how will you build your future? Whether you like it or not, there are some things that were good also in the past. Just to disregard the past, break away with all symbols of colonial India, they've built some good monuments also. So take that into account and move on. The beauty of Delhi is also what you call the Lutyens' Delhi very dismissively, but when people, foreigners and all come, that is where we show them.
I hope you tell this to, when you interview a Congress leader, you tell him the same thing, that you appreciate that Modi has done so much of good work. But you also have to do that. I mean, in politics, you are talking about a particular track record, then you are comparing two individuals, then you compare who has done what. In that, yes, Nehru has done a few things. Nobody is denying that. As I said, Nehru has focused on building certain very fundamental basic infrastructure in this country. But Nehru was not the only prime minister who did that. For example, people say Nehru built dams. Does it mean only Nehru built dams?
No, I would say Narasimha Rao built the economy.
Every prime minister in this country. And roads. Did Nehru build roads? And today, under Modi and Gadkari, India has built 10 times more roads in the last 12 years. 10 times the size has increased. So, every leader has built infrastructure. What was the overall outcome or overall performance of a given government? That you have to see. I gave you the example. Where was Indian economy in 1964 and where is the Indian economy in 2024 and 26?
So a simple question, is India poorer because of Nehru or richer because of Nehru?
No, economically speaking, he left India poorer than when he inherited it in 1952. It's a data point I'm talking about. But overall, if you are talking, India is much more richer today than what it was in 1960s. Definitely, because we have already achieved 60 years of progress.
The times were different. At that time, you could have argued that maybe with 90% of the Indians were below poverty line, the socialist model was perhaps the best fit at that time, which it is not now. So times are changing. You can't, fault someone for the decisions he took then. You have to see the context.
No, any policy will be judged not by the face value of the leader, by its outcome. I am saying the socialist pattern of society. This is not for the first time that we are saying. We have said it then itself. And not we. In 1990-91, Manmohan Singh and Narasimha Rao decided that socialist pattern of society should go to hell. I need a liberalized economy. I don't want lessons for it Kota Raj. Congress itself rejected that model. If it was such a great model, why was it not continued by Narasimha Rao and Manmohan Singh? So, certain policies were wrong when they were implemented at that time. We borrowed them from Soviet model. We thought that because Soviets were doing, we should also do that.
Hmm.
Maybe that was the judgment at that time, but the results showed that they did not do good to Indian economy or Indian system.
But even now, his politics may be right wing, but his economics seems to be very left wing. Look at the welfare model that Prime Minister Modi is adopting right now.
No, welfare of the citizens. As I said,
Huh.
he is building the citizens of this country, humans of this country. He is empowering them. India, if you look at China, what is the secret of China's rise in the world? Do you know? It's not industrialization. It happened later. First, what they did was they built their human capital. They built skilled, educated, well civilized society in that country, which automatically helped in promoting their industrialization and manufacturing industry, how it grew in 1990s and early 2000s. It's a story. But first, they built the human capital. We ignored human capital in our country. In our romantic idea of infrastructure building, etc., we ignored human capital. Prime Minister Modi, while doing all that the predecessors have done, has focused on building this human capital that will be remembered. It will be by posterity.
So that is in the end, the all-defining legacy of Prime Minister Modi, because it's really legacies that one is remembered by, not numbers of days.
Obviously, legacies will be remembered. When you remember Indira Gandhi, you cannot obscure what she did to Indian democracy. It will be remembered.
I was wondering where you were going with that one.
So, legacies will be remembered, and when Modi's legacy 20 years from now, 30 years from now, it is remembered, it will be remembered as a leader who has built the strong human capital in this country and built strong economy, strong infrastructure, strong technology base. That will definitely be remembered.
Well, on that note, thank you so much for this conversation, and we'll meet again when he crosses Nehru's other record. But on that note, thank you.
Thank you.
For more such videos, subscribe to the NewsX YouTube channel, hit the bell icon.